And for more on the day's top political stories, let's bring in CBS News political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns. Caitlin, a recent CBS News poll shows the president's approval ratings are at a relatively soft 42%, and it has been there since November. And we saw the president this week address ghost guns. He's in Iowa today talking gas prices. Clearly, there's an attempt to put some attention on his domestic agenda. Is that what he's trying to accomplish this week?
Hey, Widget, that's exactly right. And he's trying to address specifically some of his vulnerabilities on these particular issues and therefore vulnerabilities for Democrats in this midterm election year. So with Congress out, the spotlight is on Biden and these trips. He is specifically talking about issues on which he is receiving some poor approval ratings when you look deep into our CBS poll numbers. One of them is the issue, of course, of inflation and the economy. So, of course, talking about gas prices today. Also the issue of crime, which we know Republicans are making centerpiece to their midterm strategy and their midterm messaging. So by talking about ghost guns was a way to address the issue of crime. And when we see in our CBS News polling, crime is a top issue for Americans. That is among the top 5 issues but a lot of what's driving that is among Republicans. A vast majority, 74% of Republicans identify crime as a main issue there. So this is a way to address some vulnerabilities, to kind of portray to the public that they are trying to do something about it. And it's significant because Democrats have been acknowledging that these are areas where they are open to Republican attacks. Given the shooting today in New York City on the subway, Democratic Governor Kathy Hochul said that, you know, enough is enough. She's tired of reading headlines about crime. She is up for re-election, or up for election, I should say, in the state of New York. So that shows kind of where the politics around this are. But also interesting in our polling, Ouija, was this idea that most Americans say that where they live and where they work, they feel generally safe. So a lot of this can be about perception, and that's what Democrats are trying to do, at least at this point.
And I want to turn to another issue that has certainly drawn fierce criticism from Republicans, but this time on immigration. It's Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire who visited the southern border with Mexico on Monday. And she said the administration does not have a, quote, sufficient plan in place to address the steep increase in border crossings. And she criticized the repeal of Title 42. How much of a liability does this threaten to be for the administration?
Well, I think if you have a Democratic senator from New Hampshire traveling down to the southern border and issuing this statement, and she did a video from the border wall making this statement, I think that says a lot about the politics here and the potential political consequences that Democrats feel that they have. This is an issue that has really kind of divided the party in some ways. You've had more liberal members of the party, but also Majority Leader Chuck Schumer urging the administration to get rid of Title 42, arguing that it was a Trump-era policy, that it's not needed anymore as pandemic restrictions across the country have come down. But on the other hand, you have these vulnerable Democrats up for re-election, some in border states, others in red states, that see this as a political liability. And in order for Democrats to maintain control of the Senate and therefore advance Biden's agenda, they need to win these exact seats. So a lot of politics at play here, and that's kind of the indication that we're getting from some of these vulnerable Democrats.
Okay, Caitlin Huey-Burns, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.